Hey guys, Toast here. Today we're going to talk about tips to help you improve your experience while sniping in Battlefield 1. As I've mentioned in the past, there's a lot more to the scout class than just sitting along the outskirts of the map long-range sniping, including the various ways that you can help on objectives and against vehicles. However, the majority of the scout weapons do offer scoped variants designed to take those mid to long-range shots, so I'd like to provide you with some tips to help you make the most out of using those weapons. Not all of these tips are about the weapons themselves, and some are just about things that you should keep in mind while using this particular type of weapon that will help you out with the experience as a whole. These tips are in no particular order and won't turn you into an MLG sniper overnight, but they should help improve your gameplay, longevity, and ultimately your experience while playing Battlefield 1. While this may seem like a pretty simple statement, it's all too often that I see people playing the scout class on wide open maps who just have their sights trained on the distance looking for their next target. As many of you are probably aware, scoped variants of scout rifles will have a very noticeable glint that reflects off of the scope in the direction that the player's looking. While you won't notice the glint coming off of your own rifle, it's basically a shining beacon to distant players, letting them know your exact location and will make you a very distinct target for enemy scouts every time you aim down sight. A smart scout is going to wait until he has his target either spotted or at least acquired prior to aiming to minimize the amount of time that he's giving away his position from the scope glint. If you have trouble finding targets prior to aiming down sight, or you just need some extra zoom to help out, try running the trench periscope as one of your gadgets. It not only provides you with extra zoom without having to worry about scope glint, but it also allows you to see over cover and gives you a handy distance marker on the side letting you know how far out your target is. Nothing says, "Hey, I'm a target," quite like taking a number of shots from the exact same location and hoping nobody will notice. Smart players will use audio and visual cues to figure out where your shots are coming from, and the more shots you take without moving, the more information you're giving to the enemy team of your exact location, making you a prime target for counter snipers. To go along with this, going prone and crouching while taking your shots is going to immobilize you even further, making you an easy shot to enemies and decreasing your ability to get away, so unless the shot really requires it, it's best to stay standing. Now that doesn't mean that you have to run around like a chicken with its head cut off and find a drastically different position after every shot, but it does mean that if you're trying to take out multiple targets in an area, it would be beneficial to you to use different elevations, windows, or locations within a set area to make yourself a more difficult target for those trying to stop you. The best thing you can do is learn when you've overstayed your welcome and move on to a better location, even if you particularly like your current one. Someone at some point is going to have enough of you and make it their mission to end your life. Find a new position before you get to that point, because once players have closed the gap on you or decide to counter-snipe you and already know your location, your effectiveness decreases exponentially. Camping in a far-off corner of the map and taking potshots does not equate to being an effective sniper. If anything, that makes you more of a nuisance and less of a real threat to the enemy team. You'll find yourself far more successful if you stick close to your team or your squad for a number of reasons. The first being that you're more likely to identify ideal targets more quickly because your teammates should be spotting targets that are outside of their ideal range in order for you to help take them out. This means less time finding your victim and more time spent trying to take them down. If an enemy closes the gap on you, which will eventually happen, you have the support of your teammates to help you survive, which gives you a better chance of living to take another shot. While your secondary weapon is going to be very helpful at taking out enemies that have closed the gap on you, the primary weapons of all other classes on your team are going to be far more effective. Since most scout rifles deal a minimum damage of 80, your teammates can also help you take out targets by damaging them first, which makes your shots outside of your weapon's sweet spot that don't hit the target's head much more deadly. Every scout rifle in Battlefield 1 excels at different ranges, offers different muzzle velocities, and different sights or scopes. Learning the ins and outs of each of these rifles is key to knowing which one to pick to best suit your needs during a particular game. While you may enjoy one particular rifle more than others, that doesn't mean that by picking it you're necessarily setting yourself up for the best chances at success. If you anticipate you'll find yourself, or plan to put yourself, in situations where you're going to be taking very long-range marksman shots, then weapons like the M1903 Sniper or Gewehr 98 Sniper are going to be your best options due to the high muzzle velocities, high magnification scopes, and favorable sweet spots. However, those same weapons will not provide you with as much of a benefit if you're going to focus more on medium-range targets, or even play more aggressively, where weapons like the SMLE, Martini Henry, or Lebel Model 1886 are going to offer either better power, more rounds, or more favorable sweet spots for those ranges. Picking the weapon that's going to offer the most benefit statistically and that offers the best magnifications at the distance for which you're planning is going to give you a leg up right from the get-go. There are two ways in which you can prepare for long-distance shots that both have their pros and cons. The first is zeroing your rifle to different distances, and the second is learning how to compensate at the standard zeroing distance. By default, your rifle is zeroed to 75 meters, and this means that the round fired will hit a target at 75 meters that is directly in the center of your crosshair. You also have the option of zeroing your rifle to 150 or 300 meters, again essentially making it so that a target at those distances would be hit if they're directly in the center of your crosshair. The benefit to cycling your zeroing distance is that it means you have to compensate far less for bullet drop, since you aren't likely to be taking shots at targets that are past 300 meters all that often. The cons to this, however, are that you have to be able to really estimate how far away the target is, or find out using the trench periscope and adjust your zeroing distance prior to taking the shot, leaving more time between acquiring the target and killing them. The second option is to learn to better compensate with the rifle zeroed at the default of 75 meters. The benefits to this are that you can generally take quicker shots because you don't have to know the exact distances as precisely as the zeroing method, and it makes mid-range sniping easier since you'll become very accustomed to how the rifles handle at the default zeroing distance. The cons to this are that you have to compensate far more for targets that are at long distances, and it's a bit less of a precise science, leaving a bit more room for error. Both methods work with varying degrees of success depending on the person, so figure out which tends to work best for you. Hopefully these tips were beneficial to you, and I'd like to know some tips that you think are important for being a better sniper with the Scout class. Let me know in the comments. If you liked the video, please leave a like, and if you want to see more content, please subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is Toast, and I'll talk to you soon.